For decades, we've been promised these incredible futuristic robots, right? Like C3PO or Rosie the robot. But what do we actually get? Well, mostly just these giant, clunky arms bolted to a factory floor doing this same exact weld over and over and over. But listen, something massive has shifted. And I mean, really shifted, just in the last couple of years. It's all happening way faster than you probably think. See, for the longest time, robots were basically all body and no brain. Super powerful, yeah. Incredibly precise, but also incredibly dumb. They could only do that one single repetitive thing they were programmed for, and that's it. Well, that's what's fundamentally changing right now. We are finally seeing robots emerge that aren't just strong, they're actually smart. They're adaptive. And this right here, this is the absolute key, the big shift. The hardware, the robot bodies, they've been pretty impressive for years, but it's the sudden, and I mean sudden, integration of advanced AI that's turning all that sci-fi stuff into a very, very near-term reality. The robots are finally getting the brains to match their brawn. So, of course, this brings up some huge questions, right? Are they coming for your job? Are they finally going to fold your laundry? Or is this whole thing just another overhyped tech bubble? Well, to figure that out, we've got to break down what's really happening under the hood. Okay, so let's get into it. Why this sudden explosion in robotics, like right now? It really all boils down to one single, powerful idea. And that idea is convergence. Think about it this way. For years and years, the robot hardware, the body, was way ahead of the software, the brain. I mean, we could build a robot that could do a sick backflip, no problem. But that same robot, it couldn't figure out how to open a simple door if it had never seen that exact door before. It had all this athleticism, but literally zero common sense. And then, bam, the whole generative AI revolution happened. All of a sudden, computers could understand what we were saying, just in plain English. They could take a vague command and break it down into logical steps. And researchers had this massive light bulb moment. What if we put that incredibly powerful AI brain inside the robot body? And that, right there, is what we call embodied AI. This new approach is a total game changer. I mean it. Instead of an engineer having to sit there and program every single joint movement, you can just give a general command. Something like, hey, clean up that spill. The AI brain looks around, it perceives the environment, it plans out the steps. Okay, gotta find a cloth, then go to the spill, then wipe it up, and then it tells the robot body exactly what to do. It's incredible. Okay, so while we're all getting mesmerized by these flashy videos of humanoid robots, the real robot revolution, well, it's already happening. It's just happening quietly, in the background. They're not in your kitchen, at least not yet. Let's start with something you probably do all the time. Think about that last package you ordered online. There is a very good chance an AI robot was involved in getting it to you. Yeah, we're talking about literally thousands of these little autonomous mobile robots just swarming across warehouse floors. Now, they don't look anything like people because they're not supposed to. They are designed for one thing and one thing only: to be hyper-efficient, zipping around, fetching items, and bringing them to human packers at mind-blowing speeds. And it's not just in warehouses. This tech is transforming completely different fields, like farming, of all places. You've got these AI-powered robots out in the fields, precisely targeting individual weeds. And what does that mean? It means they can drastically reduce the amount of chemicals they have to use. So farming gets more efficient, sure, but it also gets way more sustainable. And that directly leads to better crop yields for all of us. And we're even seeing them in one of the most delicate places you can imagine: medicine. In operating rooms, you have these incredibly precise robot arms assisting surgeons, providing a level of steadiness and precision that's frankly superhuman. So here's the takeaway from all this. The robots that are already out there, working among us, they're specialists. They aren't glamorous, they don't look like us, but they are absolute masters of one specific job. And they're already fundamentally changing huge industries, like the entire global supply chain. But all of that brings us to the holy grail, the big one, the general-purpose robot. We're talking about a machine that's designed to operate in a world that was built, well, for us. And why a humanoid shape? A robot with 2 arms and 2 legs? Well, just look around you. Our world is filled with stairs and door handles and tools all designed for the human body. So it's actually way, way easier to build a robot that can navigate our world than it is to redesign the entire planet for robots. This whole quest has kicked off a massive new space race. Seriously, it's between some of the biggest names in tech. You've got Tesla leveraging all its manufacturing muscle for its robot Optimus. Then there's this startup, Figure AI, but they have the huge backing of OpenAI and Microsoft. And of course, you can't forget Boston Dynamics, who are pouring their decades of legendary mobility research into their new electric atlas. Every single one of them is taking a slightly different shot at the same monumental goal. And the whole approach here is it's fundamentally different. The goal isn't to have an army of engineers writing millions of lines of code for a task like fold laundry. No, the goal is to just have the robot watch a human do it and then use its AI brain to figure out how to do it on its own. Cracking that challenge, that's the key. That's what will finally move robots out of the factory and into our daily lives. Okay, with all of this incredible progress, all this exciting stuff, it's probably time for a little reality check. We need to talk about the elephant in the room.
Because this convergence of brain and body, it's not just going to change factories, it's going to change society itself. So, let's start with the big one, the question on everyone's mind. What about jobs?
Well, the first jobs to be impacted will be what they call the dull, dirty, and dangerous ones. I mean, why would you risk a human life to go inspect a toxic chemical leak when a robot can do it, right? But make no mistake, broader economic disruption is coming. The job market is absolutely going to shift away from manual labor and more towards roles where people are managing, maintaining, and programming these new fleets of robots. And then there's the huge critical issue of safety. Think about it. When a language AI like ChatGPT messes up, what happens? It tells you a lie, or it gets a fact wrong. Annoying, but okay. But when a 200-pound metal robot makes a mistake, well, it could break your furniture, or a whole lot worse. The stakes are just infinitely higher. And that's exactly why bridging the gap between a cool demo video on the internet and a machine that is actually safe enough to be around your family, that's going to take years. It's going to require an absolutely incredible amount of testing and probably a whole new wave of regulations we haven't even thought of yet. So let's sum this all up. The rise of AI robots, it's very, very real, but it's going to be a gradual rollout, not some overnight takeover. The real fundamental change to remember is this. We are moving from an era of machines that just repeat to an era of machines that can perceive, learn, and then act on what they learn. Look, it's exciting, it's maybe a little bit terrifying, and frankly, it feels pretty much inevitable. Which brings me to one last question, just for you. Thinking about everything we've just talked about, would you trust one of these first-generation AI robots to fold your laundry?